On to the United States now, where Texas is facing its deadliest floods in decades, claiming at least 89 lives, while over 40 remain missing. The damage and the devastation recorded so far is of an unprecedented scale. Our next report telling you more.
Trees uprooted. Vehicles and cars battered beyond recovery. Most parts of the landscape splattered with debris and mud. What was a weekend of joy and celebration for the whole of America turned out to be a nightmare for Texas as it continues to battle one of the most catastrophic flash floods the area has ever experienced. On Friday, the river swelled with water levels rising from 2.3 meters to a staggering, record-setting 9 meters within just 3 hours, and over the last 48 hours, the situation has grown only worse. The search and operation is underway in 12 counties, with rescuers working round the clock to assist in evacuating citizens to higher grounds and safer places.
The hardest part was there was a little boy who started floating downstream, and he was screaming, asking for help, but there just wasn't anything anybody could do at that point.
How did you feel at that moment?
I was about to jump in, and my husband had to hold me back. He said, "You're going to go too, and there's nothing you can do if you jump in." I didn't know how I was going to live with that. And thankfully, by the end of the day yesterday, I saw his face online, and he had been rescued.
The ongoing flooding along the Guadalupe River has hit these cities the hardest, with authorities issuing fresh emergency for Hunt, Ingram and Kerrville, Kerr County, reportedly the hardest hit among 20 affected counties in the region. Amidst rising calls for lack of warning from the Weather Department, President Trump says no plans to investigate Weather Service vacancies before Texas floods.
Thank you very much. We've been in touch with Governor Abbott and very close to Governor Abbott and everybody in Texas. Kristi Noem has, as you know, been there and will continue to be there. And we're working very close with representatives from Texas, and it's a horrible thing that took place. Absolutely horrible. So we say God bless all of the people that have gone through so much, and God bless the state of Texas. It's an incredible place.
In recent years, human-driven climate change has made extreme weather events such as floods, droughts and heat waves not just frequent, but more intense. Though it's hard to connect specific storms to a warming planet, so soon after they occur, meteorologists say that a warmer atmosphere can hold more moisture and allow severe storms to dump even more rain. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Our next story is about US First Lady Melania Trump. Have you heard about what's called the Einstein visa? And why is it being talked about tonight? Well, because of a string of questions that have been raised over how Melania Trump qualified for the Einstein visa. And before we get to that, for those unaware, let's just tell you more about this visa and answer the basic question of what the Einstein visa is all about. In simple terms, the EB-1 visa, often called the Einstein visa, is an employment-based green card. And it's not for everyone, by the way. It's for those who can show extraordinary ability in fields like arts, athletics, science, education, business. It's for those who demonstrate sustained national or international acclaim and whose achievements are recognized through extensive documentation. While there are strict standards, the evaluation process is subjective, reportedly. Why is the visa being talked about? Because of Melania Trump, and questions are being raised about how she qualified for it. Just for context here, Melania Trump was on this visa in America before she became a citizen. This is Jasmine Crockett. During a House Judiciary Committee hearing, the Democratic representative spoke about this matter, raising questions about how Melania Trump, being a model, was granted this category of visa. You know what she asked? Why aren't we talking about integrity when it comes to the president's family visas, quote unquote? And she went on to say it doesn't take an Einstein to see that the math ain't mathing here, quote unquote. And here's what else happened. Also testifying was the public policy research organization, the Cato Institute's Alex Nauraste, who said not everybody could marry Donald Trump, and that's quite an achievement, and that Melania Trump deserves credit for that. So while the questions are being raised, let's also tell you how this is far from being the first time Melania Trump's immigration journey is making news. Just for context, it was in the year 1996 that she came to the US. This was on a tourist visa, which then became a work visa, and it was way back in the year 2001 that she got this Einstein visa. Pakistan's former foreign minister, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, has dropped a political bombshell, one that has stunned his country and exposed deep cracks within Pakistan's terror establishment. In a rare pro-India statement, Bilawal has said that Pakistan would have no objection in extraditing terrorists like Hafiz Saeed and Masood Azhar to India as a confidence-building measure. In an interview with Al Jazeera, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari said Pakistan was ready to extradite individuals of concern to India, provided New Delhi showed what he called willingness to cooperate in the process. Just for context here, he was responding to a direct question on handing over chiefs of the Lashkar-e-Toiba and the Jaish-e-Mohammed to India. Both, remember, are UN-designated global terrorists who have masterminded some of the deadliest terror attacks on Indian soil. Lashkar Chief Hafiz Saeed is behind the horrific 26/11 Mumbai attacks. The Jaish chief, Masood Azhar, released by India in the 1999 Kandahar hijacking, has been linked to the parliament attack, the Pathankot air base assault, the Pulwama suicide bombing that killed 40 Indian soldiers. Bilawal claimed that while both the LET and the Jaish-e-Mohammed are banned in Pakistan, prosecuting them for cross-border terrorism was difficult because of what he called non-compliance from India, suggesting that India had not provided witnesses and evidence in Pakistani courts. But here's the truth. India has handed Pakistan undeniable proof of these terrorist involvement in attacks on Indian soil, from the 2001 Parliament attack to the 26/11 Mumbai attacks to Pulwama, and yet Pakistan has done nothing. And what is Bilawal claiming now? That India is not cooperating in their prosecution? And this is nothing but manipulation of the truth. India has consistently demanded that these terrorists be handed over. It has provided dossier after dossier, witnesses, proof, everything. The problem lies in Pakistan's refusal to act. Meanwhile, Bilawal's remarks have triggered outrage in his country. Hafiz Saeed's son, Talha Saeed, himself a designated global terrorist, has lashed out at Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, accusing him of bringing disgrace to Pakistan on the world stage. Talha declared that his family and others in Pakistan had vehemently opposed any extradition of Hafiz Saeed to India. While Pakistan's political leaders indulge in this war of words, the truth remains terrorists like Hafiz Saeed and Masood Azhar continue to enjoy the backing of Pakistan's military establishment, operating with impunity against India. And the question still is, will Pakistan finally act? Will it hand over these terrorists to India so that the countless victims of their attacks, the families shattered forever, can finally get justice? Or will Pakistan's political leadership continue to do what it always does? Speak big words about dialogue with India while harboring terror on its soil. At the end of the day, Bilawal's statement may have rattled Pakistan's terror lobby, but for India, it's yet another reminder that the masterminds of attacks like 2611 remain out of reach, protected by the very state that claims to fight terrorism. And we now shift our focus to Gaza, with fresh Israeli airstrikes claiming more civilian lives. According to Gaza's health ministry, at least 80 Palestinians have died in recent Israeli operations, with more than 300 injured in just the latest wave of strikes. An Israeli airstrike struck a residential building in the Al-Rimal neighborhood, killing at least 7 Palestinians and injuring dozens more. Eyewitnesses claim the blast tore through the densely populated area without any prior warning.
I was in the Al-Rimal neighborhood. It occurred without any prior warning, even though the area is densely populated and well known as a vibrant civilian neighborhood.
In fact, a survivor said there is nothing left in Gaza but death, and not even room in the cemeteries.
Without any warning, we were shocked by the missile strike. We have had enough humiliation and suffering. We now work just to afford a bit of lentils. That's enough. Have mercy on us. We just want to live like other people. Here in Gaza, we are dying. There is nothing here but death. Even the cemeteries are full.
And elsewhere in Gaza, Israeli missiles reportedly struck an out-of-service clinic sheltering displaced Palestinians. The overnight attack killed 6 people, injured at least 15. Many of those seeking refuge inside had already fled fighting to other parts of Gaza.
The clinic is out of service, sheltering displaced. We were safely sleeping. We were surprised with missiles falling on us. With the bombing, we didn't know where to go. We were surprised with the bombing on us while didn't know where the bombing was. We pulled bodies from in here. May they rest in peace. Body parts, babies no more than 5 months old and 2 years old. I also pulled my children from under the rubble. They were wounded.
And amid the relentless Israeli airstrikes on Gaza, ceasefire talks appear to be regaining momentum. Just in a few hours from now, the Israeli Prime Minister is expected to meet with US President Donald Trump at the White House. And talks are expected to take place over the Gaza ceasefire. And that meeting comes as Israel and Hamas engage in indirect negotiations over a possible US brokered deal focused on hostage releases and a pause in the fighting. Donald Trump expressed optimism over the weekend, saying a breakthrough could come within days.
I think we're close to a deal on Gaza. We could have it this week. I think there's a good chance we have a deal with Hamas during the coming week, pertaining to quite a few of the hostages. You know, we've gotten a lot of the hostages out, but pertaining to the remaining hostages, quite a few of them will be coming out. We think we'll have that done this week.
Netanyahu has said he is hopeful that the talks in Washington will help move negotiations forward in Qatar, where mediators are working to secure a broader agreement. But while the diplomats talk, the violence on the ground is showing no signs of abating. The total death toll in Gaza has now risen to over 57,000, painting a rather grim picture of the escalating humanitarian crisis.